The lovely sounds of Beethoven, a string trio. I hope you enjoyed that, as I'm hoping you're enjoying the movement toward Christmas. It's a couple of days now, and although many of you will be looking at this video months from now, it is in fact almost Christmas 2008. And Word of Gord would like to take this opportunity to read a channeled message from Jesus. One taken down in about 2 years ago now, in 2006, and one concerning this much ballyhooed, much talked about notion, the second coming. Excuse me while I look at the text. For almost as long as I have been physically absent from your earth plane, disciples and adherents have been prophesying my imminent return. For millennia, groups have gathered around various charismatic preachers and readied themselves apart from the mainstream for my glorious re-entry and subsequent shepherding of the faithful to their eternal reward. That these groups have always been disappointed in their fervor is not news to you. But it is worth recalling as you consider the various claims currently being made about my return. Various raptures and ascensions abound. I am not suggesting that you doubt the sincerity of these prophets. For the most part, they are genuinely devoted to the redemption and enlightenment of all mankind, and seek only to serve where they perceive a suitable opening. Beings supposed to be myself and Maitreya have been cited throughout the globe at various gatherings and public situations. This is true. We come and go, testing the waters and causing ripples of recognition. As we probe the millions of souls inhabiting the various planes of form, many of whom care not for the mystique or the promise of our execution of the divine plan, we are watching to assess the level of acceptance of the Christ energy among you. Do you act as though all men were actually your brothers and deserving of compassion and charity? Or are you paying lip service to publicly approved ideals while feathering your nest in enviable luxury and flattering your ego with the tributes of vanity? Do you truly forgive those who trespass against you? Or do you placate your wounds with the promise of vengeance? Do you remember that I, that divine spark of divinity, exists within your enemy? And, as is said, in the least among you? While we await the rising of this Christ energy amongst you to a level which we consider appropriate and useful for the mass acceptance of our public emergence, we want you to understand that we do not hold you responsible for the misleading propaganda of your elected officials. Spiritual wickedness in high places has always been a factor in the political and economic life of planet Earth. And it is only the easy accessibility of information via the omnipresent media which makes it seem more prevalent. That wealth is generated and power accrued through deceit as well as hard work is no secret. And those who would piously dictate from the fortress of loudly proclaimed virtue have less credibility than ever. What is perhaps not so obvious is that as you open yourself more and more to the Christ energies, not only does your heart grow to embrace all men and their sufferings, but your intuition sharpens and discernment, once so clouded with racial, religious, and social prejudice, grows rapidly in its acuity. Greed, deceit, and callous manipulation become as obvious as Pinocchio's growing nose. So many of you are educated and affluent now, but we know you feel helpless in the face of political depravity and worldwide suffering, and wonder if anything that you attempt is in any way useful. We, Maitreya, myself, and the other so-called masters would suggest that all your efforts be fueled with unconditional love. The kind that has no expectations of moral reward for efforts expended. For opening yourself to that boundless love does more for the planet than you would ever suspect. Do not be fooled by those well-meaning reformers who insist that only practical aid and development endeavors are in any way useful, for their high-minded insistence can blind you to the subtler effects of the slowly raised vibration level of the physical plane. The more you use unconditional love as your fuel and vehicle of transformation, the more you anchor the light of love and understanding on the planet. It is not enough that this cosmic boost be discovered to be emanating from some galactic central source. It needs to be anchored by willing practitioners functioning in physical bodies. As I once gave my precious life to the planet, that it be redeemed from the deeper levels of darkness, so you all can give your precious identities to the work of love. Love without object or promise of return, that the planet and all its sentient entities be further raised toward the radiance which beckons and embraces. The second coming is actually the one which blooms from the soil of your individual heart and is watered by the smiles and laughter of those you embrace with its glow. I think that was quite plain in its message, quite radiant in its loveliness, and I give it to you as my Christmas gift, my small contribution to your Christmas in 2008. And may it bless not only those who celebrate Christmas, but all those to whom Christmas means little, if anything. Let the whole planet be blessed with a measure of the Christ consciousness. Let us all raise our hearts in brotherly love and kindness and compassion and tolerance and mercy. Let all these virtues become a second nature. Au revoir, my friend.